Section 5.1 Interactive Assignment, Objective 4. Dominique, John, Roberto, and Marco work for a publishing company. The company wants to send 2 employees to a statistics conference. To be fair, the company decides that the 2 individuals who get to attend will have their names randomly drawn from a hat. So for part A, we want to determine the sample space of the experiment. That is, list all possible simple random sample size of size n is equal to 2. So here's our question. So we need to look at the following. So we know that we have Dominique. So we're going to call Dominique D. Okay, J for John, R for Roberto, and M for Marco. So what that means, in order to get the sample space, we know that we're going to have Dominique and John for the first scenario. And then it's Dominique and then Roberto. Okay, and then Dominique and then Marco. Okay, and then we have John and Roberto. And then we have John and Marco. And then the last one is going to be Roberto and Marco. So we can say that the sample size is going to be the following. DJ, DR, DM, JR, JM, and RM. So therefore that represents the sample size. Let's go ahead and make sure that we have our correct result here. Well, it's not the first one, it's not the second one, and it looks like it's this one here where we have, so that tells us that we have 6 in our sample space. Okay, now let's go back to answer part B. So it says, what is the probability that Dominique and Roberto attend the conference? Okay, now remember that the probability of event E is equal to the number of ways that E can occur over the number of possible outcomes. So let's use that information here. So what is the event E? Well, the event E is the following. Okay, the event E is that Dominique and Roberto are going to attend the conference. And so what we want to do is we want to find the probability of that event E occurring. So we got to find the number of ways that E occurs divided by the number in the sample space. Okay, well, how many times does Dominique and Roberto occur? So I'm going to copy this, another sample space here, and use this as our highlighting tool. So we're looking for the number. So we have Dominique and Roberto. So there is 1. So we can see that that represents 1. And it's out of a total of 6. So therefore it's 1 over 6. Okay, now we want to round this to 1 decimal place. So we're going to first find out 1 divided by 6 is 0.16 repeating. So this is 0.16 repeating. And so this 6 is going to round this 1 up. So that means that we get 0.2 as our probability. So for this next one, we end up getting 0.2 for the probability that Dominique and Roberto attend the conference. Okay, now the next question wants us to find what is the probability that John attends the conference. So again, using both of these formulas here, okay, we're trying to find out, okay, the number of ways that E can occur. So we know that E, or the event that E is, represents how many times does John occur. So we're trying to find the probability of that event. So we want to find the number of ways that John attends the conference over the number in the sample size. So we know the number in the sample size is going to give us 6. Okay, but now what we need to do is we need to find in our sample space how many times does John attend the conference. Well, there's 1, there's 2, and then there's 3. So we have a total of 3. And that's 3 out of 6. And 3 out of 6 is the same thing as 1/2, which then becomes 0.5. So therefore, we're going to say that the probability that John attends the conference is 0.5, again, rounding that to 1 decimal place as needed. So now what we want to do is we're going to go to the last question. What is the probability that Dominique stays home? So what is the probability that Dominique stays home? So let's check that. So we're going to go ahead and use the same sample space and the formula. Now remember, the event in our problem, okay, is asking us, in this case, if Dominique stays home. So we want to find the probability of event E, meaning Dominique that stays home. So we want to find the number of ways that Dominique stays home, which is the event E, divided by the number in the sample space. We know the number in the sample space is 6. And now we need to figure out, okay, how often or when does Dominique stay home? Well, she would stay home in this, she would stay home here and stay home there, which means that there's 3 available that would be available to go to the conference. So therefore, it's 3 out of 6, which becomes 1/2, which is 0.5. And therefore, looking at our answer, the probability that Dominique stays home is 0.5.